You know that voice, the one that whispers when you're about to speak up in a meeting, the one that laughs when you post something online and wait for validation, the one that speaks with absolute certainty when you look in the mirror, when you hit send on that message, when you dare to want something you don't think you deserve. That voice is your inner critic. And here's what no one wants to tell you. It's right. Not about everything. Not about your worth as a human being, but about the gap between who you are right now and who you're pretending to be. Your inner critic sees through every performance, every carefully crafted social media caption, every rehearsed answer, every time you fake confidence you don't feel. And the reason it terrifies you is simple. It knows you better than anyone else ever will. If you're watching this, you've probably been told to silence that voice, to drown it out with affirmations, to replace it with positive self-talk, to love yourself into submission until the criticism finally stops. But what if that's exactly backwards? What if the voice isn't the problem? What if trying to silence it is what's keeping you weak? Friedrich Nietzsche understood something that modern self-help refuses to acknowledge. He called it the will to power. Not power over others, power over yourself. The capacity to become what you have the potential to become. And that journey begins with one uncomfortable truth. You are not yet what you could be. Your inner critic knows this. It sees the distance between your current self and your possible self. And it speaks. The question isn't whether it's right. The question is what you do with that information. Most people do one of two things. They either collapse under the weight of it, or they run from it into the arms of toxic positivity. Both responses are forms of cowardice. There's a third way, a way that Nietzsche called self-overcoming, a way that transforms the critic from an enemy into a forge. But first, you need to understand why you've been running from this voice your entire life. Let me tell you what happened to your generation. Somewhere in the last 30 years, Western culture made a catastrophic decision. It decided that self-esteem was more important than self-awareness. It decided that feeling good about yourself mattered more than actually becoming good at something. You were raised on participation trophies and grade inflation. You were told that everyone is special, that you should follow your dreams regardless of talent or preparation, that believing in yourself is enough. And now you're an adult, and the world doesn't care about your self-esteem. The world cares about what you can do, what you can create, what value you can offer, what problems you can solve. Your inner critic has been trying to tell you this the entire time. When it says you're not ready, it's right. You're not. When it says you don't know enough, it's right. You don't. When it says you're pretending to be something you haven't earned, it's right. You are. But here's where society failed you. It taught you that acknowledging these truths was the same as destroying yourself. It conflated honest self-assessment with self-hatred. It turned the inner critic into a villain. And in doing so, it robbed you of your greatest tool for transformation. Nietzsche wrote about this. He talked about the last man, the comfortable man, the man who has made peace with his own mediocrity, the man who says, "We have invented happiness," and blinks. The last man doesn't have an inner critic anymore. He's killed it, drowned it in affirmations and self-love mantras, and therapy speak about boundaries and self-care. He's comfortable. He's content. He's dying inside and doesn't even know it. The inner critic is the alarm system that prevents you from becoming the last man. It's the part of you that refuses to let you settle, that won't let you get comfortable, that keeps reminding you of the gap between what you are and what you could be. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Growth always is. But here's the trap you need to understand. The self-esteem movement didn't just teach you to silence the critic. It taught you to confuse the message with the messenger. Your inner critic has two components. The first is information. Cold, accurate, ruthless information about where you actually stand. The second is venom, shame, cruelty. The emotional charge that makes you want to hide under the covers and never try again. Most people can't separate these two things. So when the critic says, "You're not good enough yet," you hear, "You're worthless and always will be." When it says, "That thing you made is mediocre," you hear, "You should give up forever." When it says, "They saw through your performance," you hear, "Everyone knows you're a fraud." The information is accurate. The venom is a distortion. And here's what you need to understand. The venom didn't come from you. It came from every authority figure who punished you for falling short. Every parent who withdrew love when you disappointed them. Every teacher who shamed you for not knowing something you were never taught. The venom is borrowed. The information is yours. Nietzsche called this the process of revaluation. Taking inherited values and examining them, keeping what serves your becoming, discarding what keeps you small. Your inner critic is speaking in a language it learned from people who wanted to control you. But underneath that language is a signal, a true signal, about the work you still need to do. This is the difference between self-destruction and self-overcoming. Self-destruction says, "I'm not good enough, therefore I should stop trying." Self-overcoming says, "I'm not good enough yet, therefore I have work to do." Same information, completely different response. When your inner critic speaks, it's giving you coordinates. It's telling you exactly where the gap is between your current skills and the skills you need, between your current character and the character you want to build, between who you are and who you're capable of becoming. That's not abuse. That's navigation. But you've been taught to throw away the map because the handwriting is ugly. You've been taught that any voice that doesn't affirm you is trying to destroy you. And so you've spent years running from the only part of yourself that's telling you the truth. Nietzsche used a metaphor that everyone misunderstands. He talked about the hammer. Most people think he meant you should be hard, unyielding, brutal to yourself and others. They're wrong. The hammer isn't what you use on other people. It's what you use on yourself. To break apart what's weak, to forge what's strong, to shape yourself into something that can withstand pressure. Your inner critic is the hammer, and you are the metal. But here's what most people miss. Metal doesn't become stronger by being beaten down. It becomes stronger by being heated, struck, folded, and heated again. The process refines it, removes impurities, aligns the molecular structure. The smith doesn't hate the metal. The smith is trying to reveal what the metal can become. Your inner critic doesn't hate you. It's trying to reveal what you can become. But you have to learn its language. When it says you're not smart enough, translate that to you need to study more. When it says you're not talented enough, translate that to you need to practice more. When it says you're not ready, translate that to not yet. This is the shift that changes everything. The critic is no longer an enemy telling you that you're fundamentally broken. It's a coach telling you exactly where to focus your effort. Every great person in history had this voice. They just learned to use it differently. Michael Jordan heard the voice after getting cut from his high school basketball team. He could have heard, "You're not good enough, give up." Instead, he heard, "You're not good enough yet, get to work." The voice was right. He wasn't good enough. Not yet. That truth didn't destroy him. It forged him. This is what Nietzsche meant by amor fati, love of fate, love of the struggle, love of the process of becoming. Your inner critic is showing you your fate, the work you came here to do, the person you came here to become. Most people spend their entire lives running from that voice, building walls of denial, surrounding themselves with people who will never tell them the truth, medicating the discomfort with distraction and false comfort. They think they're protecting themselves. They're actually imprisoning themselves. Here's a framework, a way to turn the critic from a tormentor into a tool. Step 1. Listen without collapsing. When the voice speaks, don't run, don't numb, don't immediately counter it with an affirmation. Just listen. What is it actually saying underneath the emotional charge? Step 2. Strip away the venom. Identify what's information and what's inherited shame. The information sounds like this. You need more practice. You need more knowledge. You need more preparation. The venom sounds like this. You're worthless. You'll always fail. Everyone can see you're a fraud. Keep the information. Discard the venom. Step 3. Create a plan. If the critic is right about the gap, what specific actions will close it? Not someday. Not eventually. This week? This month? This year? The critic says, you're not good enough yet. Fine. What does good enough look like? And what are the concrete steps to get there? Step 4. Use the discomfort as fuel. That uncomfortable feeling when the critic speaks. That's not a sign you should stop. That's a sign you're close to something real, something that matters, something that will require you to grow. The only people who don't hear the critic are people who have stopped trying to become anything. Step 5. Track the gap closing. This is critical. You need evidence that the work is working, that the gap between who you were and who you're becoming is shrinking. Not because you need validation, because the critic needs to see that you're listening, that you're taking its information seriously, that you're doing the work. And here's what happens over time. The critic doesn't go away, but it changes its tone. It stops sounding like a parent punishing a child. It starts sounding like a master training an apprentice. The information gets more precise, more useful, more targeted. Instead of vague shame, you get specific feedback. Instead of crushing judgment, you get honest assessment. The critic becomes your standard, your measuring stick, your compass. Here's what you need to know about the world you're walking into. Most people will not understand what you're doing. They will see you pushing yourself. They will see you refusing to be satisfied. They will see you acknowledging your limitations and working to overcome them. And they will call it toxic. They will say you're being too hard on yourself, that you need to practice more self-compassion, that you should love yourself as you are. What they really mean is, stop making us uncomfortable. Stop reminding us that growth is possible. Stop showing us that we've been making excuses. Stop being evidence that the critic can be used as a tool instead of an excuse. Nietzsche wrote about this too. He called it the herd mentality, the way groups enforce mediocrity to maintain comfort. The herd doesn't want you to listen to your inner critic, because if you do, you'll outgrow them. You'll become something they're afraid to become. You'll remind them of everything they could be, but aren't willing to work for. So they'll offer you comfort. They'll validate your excuses. They'll tell you that you're already enough. And they'll mean well. Most of them will genuinely believe they're helping you, but they're not. They're trying to keep you in the herd, where it's safe, where no one has to feel inadequate. where everyone can pretend that wanting more is the same as having more. You have a choice to make. You can accept their comfort and stay where you are, or you can accept your critic and become what you're capable of becoming. You cannot do both. This is what Nietzsche called the path of self-overcoming. And it's lonely. Not because you have to abandon everyone, but because most people will abandon you when you refuse to stay comfortable. The people who matter will stay, the ones who are also doing the work, the ones who understand that the critic is not the enemy. Everyone else will fall away. And that's not a tragedy. That's a sorting mechanism. So let me ask you directly. Are you going to keep running from the voice? Are you going to keep drowning it out with affirmations that make you feel better, but keep you exactly where you are? Are you going to keep pretending that toxic positivity is the same thing as growth? Or are you going to do something harder? Are you going to listen to what your inner critic has been trying to tell you? Not the venom, not the shame, not the inherited cruelty from people who never wanted you to succeed, but the information, the truth, the gap between who you are and who you could become. Because here's what I know about you. You wouldn't be watching this if you were satisfied with where you are. You wouldn't be here if you didn't hear that voice too. If you didn't know, somewhere deep down, that you're capable of more. Your inner critic isn't your enemy. It's the part of you that refuses to settle, that won't let you sleepwalk through your one life, that keeps reminding you of your potential even when it's uncomfortable. The question is whether you're brave enough to listen. Nietzsche had a phrase for this. He called it becoming who you are, not discovering some hidden authentic self, not waiting for permission, not hoping someone will finally validate you. Becoming active, intentional, forged through struggle. Your inner critic is the voice of your possible self, the self you could be if you stopped making excuses, if you stopped running, if you did the work. That voice will never be gentle. It will never coddle you. It will never tell you that you're already enough, because you're not yet. And that's not an insult. That's an invitation. The gap between who you are and who you could be is where your life happens. That's where meaning lives. That's where growth happens. That's where you stop being a passenger and become a creator. Your inner critic is showing you the way. The only question is whether you have the courage to walk it. What is the ape to man? A laughingstock or a painful embarrassment? And man shall be just that for the overman. The inner critic is not your enemy. It is your evolution speaking. Listen.